There's a job recruiter out there that's facing a lot of backlash. I want you to look at this tweet. The recruiter says, I just offered a candidate $85,000 for a job that had a budget of $130K. I offered her that because that's what she asked for. I personally don't have the bandwidth to give lessons on salary negotiation. What? Now the recruiter pitches that this was a lesson, saying, always ask for the salary you want and deserve, no matter how much you think it might be. Now, here to discuss all of this with us, psychologist and executive coach, Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Natalie.
So this is kind of wild. It's also really part of a much bigger problem. New York actually addressing it with a new law. Can you kind of walk us through how new employees potentially lose out when a salary range isn't posted there on the job? So they are just kind of, spitballing to what they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you lose time because if you're applying for a job and going through the process for a job that is under what you're looking for, you're wasting your time there. Secondly, you're shooting in the dark. So you could be overshooting or undershooting. And for women and people of color who are typically under market, it depresses our salary possibilities, especially in our mindset. And then thirdly, it doesn't allow us to do the proper research to understand not only what that role makes on average, but also what it makes in different sectors. So we can actually choose the sectors we want to get involved in with much more consciousness about sort of what we're looking at salary-wise.
Now, just real quick, when we talk about this tweet, is it on the employer at all to tell them what they should be asking for, or is this all on the employee?
I mean, currently it's all on the employee, but it should be on the employer because the employer has a set budget. They always generally have a set budget, so they know what it is. And so they're just taking the chance that they could actually make money on this and put it back into their coffers.
Wow. Okay. So how do we as employees determine our own wealth? How do we know what is too much or what is too little to be asking for?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the law, and hopefully when the law goes into effect, it'll be much clearer. But while the law is still going into effect, and in states where it's not the case, it's really important to do your due diligence. So to do your research on websites like Glassdoor, salary.com, levels.fyi, to sometimes have someone on the inside that company who knows the levels, who can inform you about the salary ranges that are possible for that role. And then thirdly, asking mentors who often applied for those kinds of roles or had those kinds of roles to give you a sense of what the salary range is. So do your due diligence, do your research, and hopefully that will give you a good enough range to come in with.
Yeah, and what about the employees that are already at the job? Maybe they're seeing this going, well, I'm kind of curious what my position makes. They find out that it's more. Do you have any tips on now approaching your manager that you've been working for about getting a raise?
Yeah, so I think it also gives people the opportunity who are internal to really recalibrate their own salaries. So I think it's fantastic. It is really important for you to be gathering data as to the value add that you're doing. So look at the key performance indicators that your boss would consider the metrics in which they kind of look at your role, and then be able to show that you're exceeding those metrics and be able to have these conversations typically at performance reviews, but you can also schedule a conversation with your boss around it. Just make sure you give them a heads up of what you'll be discussing. So that I think that's important.
Yeah. Is any of the things that we're dealing with because of the pandemic, the labor shortage specifically, impacting all of this?
Yeah, the labor shortage has made the market extremely competitive. It's been hard to find employees. So as a result, I think people understand their power and they feel like they should be compensated equitably. And I think it's really, giving them a lot of leverage, and they're using it to their benefit, which I think is really revolutionary for the market and I think really important.
Yeah, certainly. Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin, thank you so much. Fair is fair. You just got to ask for it. If you guys would like to see more of her, and make sure you're following her on social media at Dr. Orbe-Austin, and then we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, see you next week.